It's easy to get sucked into it all. Gosh, I like the t-shirt. Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Dawn Mountain. I am Harvey Aronson, also known as Lama Namgyal Dorje. We are broadcasting from Houston, Texas. We're in the mission center of the St. Philip Church. They're very kindly offering us space. And this is our Sunday meditation. I welcome everyone. We will be doing a very simple 2 meditations. The first is mindfulness of the breath, which allows us to focus on the breath. And we can focus on the breath either at the nostrils or at the throat or in the belly, whatever seems to work for you. And you may first become aware of it by observing, as it were, the process of breathing. But if you can, we encourage you to actually immerse yourself in the actual process. So if you're sensing the breath in your deep belly, what does that feel like in the deep belly? Can you actually become that process? Put your whole attention into that process so that you forget everything else that's going on in the world, in your life, and you're just, as it were, lost in that process of breath. Or if it's the breath contacting the nostrils, can you just be lost in that experience of that contact at the breath, at the nostrils? We do this to cultivate attention, focus. If thoughts or emotions come up, we just allow those thoughts and emotions to come and go. If we get completely lost in a stream of thought or emotion, we can just label it as distraction, bring ourselves back to the process of breathing. We notice that with concerted, ongoing acts of attention, there can be a quieting of body and mind. It needs to be stated that as we are cultivating attention, you may become more aware of thoughts and feelings. And sometimes it feels like there's a kind of laugh riot going on in our minds as we're cultivating attention. It seems noisier, more thoughts, more feelings. It's in part because we're actually paying attention. Most of us go through life numbing ourselves and not feeling. The minute we start paying attention and cultivating attention with respect to what's going on in our minds and our bodies, we may become aware of a little bit of a hullabaloo. Not to get concerned, it's just with the clarity of attention, we may become more aware of how noisy things are being. Over time, things slow down, things quiet down, and there's more settling of body, settling of mind. The second meditation we do is based on a Tibetan sacred syllable, Hong. I like to visualize it as Hoong, Hong. And this is said to be the sacred syllable that is the wisdom mind of a Buddha. Hung is the wisdom mind of a Buddha. And so as we chant it, we are empowering our own wisdom mind, our own Buddha mind to become manifest. We chant it by doing Hung, Hung, chant it twice at our own pace. And we are uniting our attention, our breath, our sound, our hearing. Everything is united in Om, Om. If we can, we drop all the concerns of daily life. If we notice they're occurring, we just let them go on the side. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, images. Again, if we lose ourselves in that kind of process, we just bring our attention back to home, home, and we continue to do this. Again, the process allows us to become centered. And as we are centered with our attention, over time, we notice this contributes to a calming of body, a calming of mind. And it also allows us to have more attention in our daily life. So, where we might be in a position that reactivity may occur, instead of becoming instantly reactive, we may notice we have a few moments to make a decision. Do I really wish to say that? Do I really wish to behave in that way? And there's a choice moment here because I have some attention. So attention is very, very useful during the course of our daily lives. So we'll start. We sit. You can be on the floor if you're on a chair or sofa. Just allow yourself to be sitting with your back straight but not stiff, shoulders relaxed if possible. We tuck our chin in a little bit because that tends to elongate our neck, which is good for the energy flow. And allow yourself to sense contact with that which supports you. You're on the floor, on a mat, or on a chair. The earth is supporting you. The contact with your seat is supporting you. And feel into that contact. The contact we have in sitting is present tense. So much of our lives is imagined forward or reflected backward. We're not actually relishing and experiencing the present. When we touch into our contact, support, that's the immediacy of the present. It's a great gift to just be able to be in the immediacy of that experience of support. Even if there's all sorts of raucous thoughts that are clamoring for our attention, allow yourself to sense that contact, which is the first pillar of support. And the second pillar of support is our skeletal structure. We don't have to do too much work for our skeletal structure to support us. It's just built that way to support us. It's the second pillar of support. And then finally, there is a channel of energy running from about 3 or 4 finger widths below the navel, in front of the spine, all the way to the crown of the head. It's an internal, sensed channel of energy called the central channel. And that's an intrinsic pillar of support. Our eyes can be closed, or if you like, just very, very barely open, looking down, not focused, soft focus, just letting a little bit of light in, not moving, not darting. And we place our attention on the process of breath, either the nostrils, throat, the lung area, or if you like, there's a spot, the Tibetan Buddhist system. It's called the Do, 3 or 4 finger widths below the navel and 3 or 4 finger widths within from the surface of the skin. And we place our attention in one of these spots and we settle into sensing the experience of the breath. Settle into the experience of the process of breathing. Let everything else dissolve out of your awareness. The world will take care of itself for the period that we're meditating. Let it go and see if you can allow maximal attention into the experience of the process of breathing. There are thoughts or emotions in the background. Let them be. Pay them no mind. If you get completely lost, no need to beat yourself up. No need to criticize yourself. Just notice gently and kindly. You've taken a little bit of a trip. You can punctuate it by just noticing distraction, distraction. And bring your attention back. And settle your attention on the process of breathing. We'll now start the chanting portion of the meditation. We chant Hum, Hum, syllable twice at our own pace, focusing mind, breath, and sound. We're chanting, we're hearing. Everything is around these syllables and the sounding of them. Let go of everything else. If you get lost, just bring yourself back to this process. Om, Bring your attention back to the process of breathing. Notice initially if you feel any effects from the chanting. Notice the breath at the nostrils, at the throat, heart area, all the way down, three finger widths below the navel, three finger widths within from the skin at the dough. Wherever you notice the breath, fully enter into the process. Let your whole being be absorbed in the process and experience where your focus of attention on the breath is. Appreciate the subtlety of the experience of your breath. As we meditate, we feel we're engaging in a meritorious act, and there is the belief that we can share our merit with others. So if you care to enter the names of people in the chat who you would like to share the merit of our activity with, people who are ill, people who have passed, people in need of your support, you can do that. We will pass around a book here in the audience. You can put names in that. We have a reading. We read from the book Comfortable with Uncertainty by Pema Chodron. Reading chapter 74, Letting the World Speak for Itself. Don't misinterpret. The slogan, don't misinterpret, means don't impose the wrong notions of what harmony is, what compassion is, what patience is, what generosity is. Don't misinterpret what these things really are. There is compassion and there is idiot compassion. There is patience and there is idiot patience. There is generosity and there is idiot generosity. For example, trying to smooth everything out to avoid confrontation, to not rock the boat, is not what's meant by compassion or patience. That's what is meant by control. Then you are not trying to step into unknown territory to find yourself more naked, with less protection, and therefore more in contact with reality. Instead, you use the idiot forms of compassion and so forth just to get around. When you open the door, invite in all sentient beings as your guests, you have to drop your agenda. Many different people come in. Just when you think you have a little scheme that is going to work, it doesn't work. It was very beneficial to one person, but when you try it on the next person, he looks at you as if you're crazy. And when you try it on somebody else, she gets insulted. Coming up with a formula won't work. You don't know what's going to help, but all the same, you need to speak and act with clarity and decisiveness. Clarity and decisiveness come from the willingness to slow down, to listen to, and look at what's happening. They come from opening your heart and not running away. Then your actions and speech accord with what needs to be done for you and the other person. So a bit of a provocative reading. Anybody, any thoughts, either in our live audience here or online?
Very fast. I I wonder how much of it is the action versus stupid action.
Action versus
The stupid action of it is in comparison to skillful mindset versus unskillful. Whether they're saying the actual action is the truth, anything but that truth of that action is the unskillful, idiotic version.
Yes, so we don't have a microphone upstairs. We're meeting upstairs today, so I'm going to repeat what you said, and I'm not going to catch every word. Remind me your name.
Mason.
Mason. Contrasting action versus kind of idiot or stupid action, that there's a contrast being articulated. And I agree with you that, and it's a kind of big question as to what's the difference. And I know we had one teacher in India who said, we're teaching you how to be simple, but not to be a simpleton. You know, the extreme example would be the person in a alcoholic family who, you know, insists on continuing to supply the alcoholic with their alcohol. It's understandable, and it might be rationalized as compassionate, but it also might be understood as very, very dangerous. It's a kind of easy example, but as it turns out in practice, it's actually a very complicated example because many, many people live in toxic relationships and support the toxic behavior of their partners or family members. It's not always, it's sometimes easier to be seemingly compassionate, but sometimes hard to set a boundary because people don't like boundaries. Anybody else, any thoughts or reflections online or live? Yes.
Well, I got the impression that it's very important, like to listen, right? Like, to try to fully understand what's going on around us, like before committing to do something, right, about it. That's the impression.
Yeah, good. Remind me your name.
Marcial.
Martial. So Martial is saying he takes away that we need to listen carefully before engaging in action. And I think that is being said, and I think there's a lot of profundity in that, that careful listening is actually a very delicate art. And so I appreciate what you're saying, just bringing that forward, that before acting, we really need to listen carefully. There are many people who write about being in meetings where people are more oriented towards what am I going to say next before listening to the other person first. And there's a lot to be said to listening to another. There's a lot to be said for listening to children and what they're saying, both verbally and non-verbally. It's quite an art form. I think we've all seen mothers or fathers and their kid is screaming and crying, and they just say, they're tired. Oh, that's a wonderful translation. They're saying, I hate you. I don't want to eat. And the parent is saying, they're tired. They need to go to sleep. So skillful listening is really, really important. And discernment, what I think Pema Chodron is emphasizing is discernment. And it's a wonderful quality. And it's a quality that, as we're cultivating our mindfulness, if you notice, as you're really paying attention to the breath, your attention gets more and more subtle. And you may not be able to put words on the experience of the quality of your attention and what you're noticing, but you're starting to notice the finest experiences of changes in your body in relationship to the process of breathing. And we can bring that discernment to our relationships, and it can be very, very significant and important. Anything else anybody wishes to say or add, online or in person? Yes, Nancy. Go ahead, Nancy.
Today, I've already had 3 times when I was looking at a clock and wasn't sure which was now, because of the time change. And all week I have been, all of this is in the beginning of first you have to find now, is the one that's been eluding me this week. In order to discern, I have to be here this now, not the other now that I think I'm in. Been tough this week. Yesterday, I thought it was Sunday.
Finding the now It's a very profound fortune cookie. Finding this now, as opposed to that now. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm going to freelance some announcements unless, were you left with any dramatic announcements or it's up to me? Okay. So I'll do that.
This says everybody that's online, I wrote all.
Okay. Better. This coming Tuesday, we will have our first and third Tuesday teaching. It's the first Tuesday of November. It's also election day. Anybody who's in the United States, please vote. Yes, we're continuing with our exploration of our own human experience using the insights of Buddhist teachers to facilitate an ever clearer understanding of the nature of our experience, which can support greater and greater freedom, greater and greater wisdom, greater and greater compassion. On Wednesday, November 20th, we have Buddhism in 4 words. We'll be talking about awakening at 7 o'clock, online and in person. And then Saturday, December 7th, of note, we have our Supporting the Radiance event, which will be on our webpage. It's a disclosure of what's going on in Dawn Mountain. We welcome newcomers, and it will also be a fundraising event if you care to support what we're doing. So in the interim, we will return to our meditative practice. So we will do a kind of mindfulness of breath, sounding mindfulness of breath sandwich, short period of mindfulness of breath, a little bit of the mantra, and then back to mindfulness of breath. So bring your attention to your breathing. And gently, gently notice the experience of breath, either at your nostrils, your throat, your heart, or the process of breath all the way down into the belly. The delicate, delicate process of the changes that occur with the breathing. You're not trying to alter anything, you're just bringing delicate attention to this process. We turn our attention to the breathing. We have the dedication chain. May I set free and see come a great world. Lead all beings, everyone, to reach through that very ground. With all of you in mind, we light this lamp of clarity. May the glow of love, wisdom shine within us, everyone, till we all rise forth born in one enlightened mandala. And today we share the merit of our activity with all sentient beings throughout space, and with Regina McIntyre and the Bardo, Melissa McIntyre and loved ones, Kelly, Thomas, Aisha, Juan and Ken, John David, victims in Ukraine, victims in Palestine, Betsy, Junebug, Juan Dorset, Bardo, Dora Dorset, Brianna, Omar, Carly, Roxy, Marshall, Juan and family, Colleen and Fran, victims of violence, Maria's mom, Maria's family, Alma, Jenny Discombe and the Bardo, Mari, Gabi, Galina, Selwa. Our teachers are Sangha, all suffering animals, Anna Sullivan, Joyce and the Bardo, Nick, Rolf, safe travels, Padma, Mitchell, Andy, Lil, James, Marcus, Colinas, Ford, Toy Ford, Marshall McNeil, Barnabas McNeil, Lucy, Neil Sprengelmeyer, and Barbara Ellman. And we will conclude with chanting an ah if people wish to unmute. Wishing well to all here, all everywhere, all sentient beings, friends, neutrals, and enemies. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Wonderful to see
Thank you,
you
Harvey.
all around the planet. Golly gee, Ivan, staying up so late. Appreciate it. Golly, yikes. Hi, Sue, late into the
Oh,
evening.
look at that.
Everybody stay well, be well.
Thank you. You too, Harvey.
Everybody be at peace.
Yeah.
For those here, we are offering lunch tonight, so please join us for lunch. And Lama is here. It'd be a wonderful opportunity to spend some time with him. Take care.